for this warm introduction. No, quite excited to be here, and thanks again to the organizers and of course the audience, and to AMNA here as well to talk now 20 minutes about a very, very interesting topic in the space, and I think everybody is striving for real use cases in the space after everything what happened, and of course impact, as we just heard, is a big topic. And we definitely do see a lot of applications for it. So I would love to, as a first sort of chat, I would love to understand a little bit more about what you're doing. How did you get to where you are? And what are you doing, just to give the audience a bit of a deeper understanding. And then I think then we take it from there and go a bit deeper on some of the efforts you guys are doing.
All right. Hi, everyone. So my name is AMNA, and I've been in the blockchain space for quite a few years. I started off being in the first cohort of the University of Oxford's blockchain strategy program. And from there, I went on to found the Oxford Blockchain Foundation and went on to found a few initiatives, such as one based in Slovenia, based on tokenization on the blockchain. And over the few years, my interest evolved. It was always based on tech for good and Web3. And eventually, I got an opportunity to join the Giga team at UNICEF, where I'm also working in the blockchain and Web3 team there, focusing on that. And over the course of this chat, I hope to give a deeper dive into the work that Giga UNICEF is doing, and ITU as well.
Fantastic. And I would like to also put the attention to, I think it's called Giga, if I'm not mistaken. And I know you have a deep Web3 angle, but I think Giga has a very, very interesting mission overall on a global scale. So maybe you want to share a little bit how the project evolved and what it actually is.
So Giga is an initiative by UNICEF and ITU that aims to connect every school in the world to the internet by 2030, and every child and young person to information, opportunity, and choice. This is very important because of the digital divide. According to the ITU International Telecommunications Union State of Broadband Report 2022, 2.7 billion people on the planet do not have access to the internet, 1.3 billion of who are children. And this is very important, specifically we saw the past few years during the COVID pandemic. According to official UNICEF figures, due to COVID pandemic, school-going children's around 473 million school-going children could not access remote learning or have access to educational remote learning during the pandemic just because of lack of connectivity. And to understand how big, we're so used to throwing figures and numbers around, but to understand how big this is, 473 million is larger than half the population of Europe. So this is what Giga does. It focuses on universal school connectivity. And the reason that it focuses on universal school connectivity is that schools are the heart of a community. Specifically, when you focus on rural and remote areas, school is the place that brings communities together. So when you connect a school, you don't just connect the children, you give an opportunity for the whole community to get connected. You have women who can sell their handicrafts, their baskets online and get a new revenue stream. You have men who can come and upskill through jobs or even take courses online. So that is what Giga does. And this impacts not just on the micro level or the country, or the community level, but the whole country as well. There was a report done by The Economist that for every 10% increase in school connectivity specifically, a country's GDP rises by 1.1%. So the whole country's GDP rises by 1.1%, and for the poorest countries, that increase is as much as 20%.
Now, these are fascinating numbers, and we see what the impact here really is. But I also want to highlight this. I mean, a lot of people think about internet and education, that it's far away. There's emerging markets and so on and so forth. But I'm from a 4,000 place in Germany, and it took us 6.5 months when COVID hit to implement remote learning. right? And that's Germany, right? That's not an emerging market, obviously. So we see even like, institutions in fully equipped markets are still having a hard time transitioning towards implementing the internet in a proper way for students, but also for teaching quality content. And the parents of these children had to go physically to the school to pick up all the documents and then bring it home so the kids could learn. And that's in Germany.
Yes, it was a very difficult time, and definitely a lot of progress to be made.
And I think it's fascinating because that you guys are so far ahead already in thinking of using emerging technologies such as blockchain and Web3 to enable this mission and to really take concrete action plans. So I would love to understand of why Giga is specifically investing in blockchain solutions to help achieve this mission. Maybe you can put some clarity on this as well.
So there's a lot of advantages of using blockchain solutions. So first of all, of course, there's security. In blockchain, data is stored in in blocks of data using cryptographic hash functions, which gives an added layer of security, which is very important for important data protection. The second thing that we look into blockchain for is the advantage of transparency. Giga, being a global initiative, uses a lot of deals with a lot of vendors, deals with a lot of internet service providers and a lot of contracts. So having this transparency adds a layer of fraud protection and also trust between different parties. Giga also uses blockchain for the advantage, which I think a lot of us also use, is immutability, which again goes back to fraud prevention. Because data on the blockchain is unchangeable, it is there forever. So if there's any change, you can go back and track where the change happened, and it adds another protective layer of transparency and trust enhancement between parties that we deal with. There's also the advantage of decentralization. If there is an internet or if there is a blockage in a certain part of the world, it will not affect the blockchain because the blockchain is decentralized. Similarly, because we want to aim to reach every school in the world, using blockchain prevents centralized governments, for example, or any third parties from stopping our access. There's also the advantage of efficiency, via smart contracts. Efficiency is created. There's no need for second or third party interventions. And there are immutability as well. Data can be transferred on different platforms. So there are many advantages of blockchain which attracted Giga to use it as a platform.
Fantastic. I think I would love to go a little bit more specific because a lot of people talk about the blockchain space always very abstract, and I know that there's great benefits, but maybe you can share some specific products within blockchain space you guys are building and how that has been impacted or is supposed to impact some of the institutions and schools you're working with.
So with regards to blockchain, first of all, Giga as a whole has a lot of different products. So I will discuss just the blockchain-related ones, but it covers a lot of other aspects as well. With regards to blockchain, we talked about the aspect of transparency and security. So Giga is building a Giga Accounts platform, which is a payments platform in which you can do payments automatically via smart contracts once certain conditions are met to the internet service providers, to the different vendors. So one is Giga Accounts, which again is for seamless payments and transparent accountability and accountancy and fraud prevention. Another very interesting product that Giga is working on is connectivity credits. So like you have carbon credits, using tokenization on the blockchain, Giga plans to reward those internet service providers who are good actors, who are providing consistent, reliable internet to schools in areas which are in underserved areas. And once the data is tracked on the blockchain and validated, they earn these tokenized credits, and this is the basis of the connectivity credits platform. Another very interesting aspect that Giga has worked on is with regards to staking. So Giga has a very innovative approach when it comes to trying and finding new ways of enhancing their work. One is staking, which we did in the country of Rwanda. So we took ETH and we staked it, and the purpose of that was to see if the rewards earned from staking can be used to provide internet service providers with a revenue stream and basically provide a sustainable way of paying internet connectivity providers, because we don't want to just connect the schools. We want it to be a sustainable connection in which the schools remain connected and the children and the communities continue to benefit. And yes, those are the three ways that we have. We are, of course, waiting for the Shanghai update, which, of course, has again been postponed, but hopefully now by 12th April, we will move forward with that as well. And we have also looked into NFTs.
Very, very cool. Your story really reminds me about, we recently invested in a company called Grid. It's also a female founder based out of the US. She worked with the World Bank before, and she basically uses a no-code gaming solution to empower schools, other institutions, as well as corporates, to help them engage and learn with content. So she did has a big ambassador program across Africa and Pakistan where schools are getting onboarded now, and then students can build their own game. It's a no-code platform. You can do this in 2 to 3 minutes, and think about it as like a super casual game like Flappy Birds or things like this, and then they learn content with it. Right? And the numbers are growing massively month over month, and we see that these solutions, especially in Web3, because she has done the opportunity to use NFTs within those games, right? So you can either lend your own NFTs, create your own NFTs, you create assets within that game, like knowledge assets in a sense, for that school to then also use that funds for other specific things they want to drive forward with, right? And I think it's very, very interesting to also look at it from that perspective, right? I mean, also as a fund, we have done a couple of projects in the impact world, also on food waste, on the blockchain, and many other things. So I really like the passion you guys have and how you use emerging technologies.
I think Web3 as a whole, I've seen the community thrives on collaboration over competition, and there is an initiative to try to make the world a better space. So a lot of people we come across, they're doing a lot for the world, and that's really nice.
Absolutely. I did a bit of research, and I saw that you launched an NFT collection. Maybe you can explain a little bit more what's the purpose of it, how did it come about, and what are you going to do with this moving forward?
So we have 2 NFT collections. So the first one is called the Patchwork Kingdom NFT collection, and it was launched in January 2021. So we took our artist, Nadi Bremer, award-winning artist Nadi Bremer, took real-time data of 283,000 schools collected from Giga's Project Connect. So using these real-time data, she used algorithms and converted them into 1,000 patchwork kingdoms. So if you, for example, to understand more in context of what I'm speaking at, if you check out OpenSea, you will see patchwork kingdoms. So each patchwork kingdom tells a story. There's an upper part which shows the schools that are connected, and a lower part which shows the schools that are still not connected. So it tells a story of the digital divide. And it was used by Giga as a fundraising mechanism to commemorate UNICEF's 75th anniversary, and raised $700,000, which went to fund the Giga initiative of connecting universal school connectivity. The next NFT collection that we have coming up this year is a very different approach. It is very revolutionary. It is called NFT2, and it aims to be the largest decentralized open source database for every school in the world. So you can imagine, like we have a Wikipedia page. So for schools, it would be like a Wikipedia page for every school in the world, but in NFT form. So that is what we are working on now.
It's fascinating. Are there more collections going to be launched in the future, or can you not share anything about that?
So this is the one we're working on now, and this is a very, non-profit tech for good for our foundation, because Giga has a project Connect platform in which it has mapped 2.1 million schools worldwide. But when we were mapping these schools, we saw that there was still a lot of data that was not there. For example, something as simple as whether the school was a primary school, whether it was a secondary school, whether the speed of the internet connectivity there, and number of students, etc. So with that intention, we went on to build this NFT2, in which we aim to crowdsource the data that is needed. So all of us here went to schools. So all of us have an opportunity to contribute to this via this NFT2 platform. And we are planning to launch this in around the time of the UN, a beta launch around the time of the UN General Assembly in September of this year, using 50,000 schools to start with. And the whole platform will be very gamified. They will be, because we aim to incentivize users to contribute data and to validate data. So there will be a whole gamification strategy and mechanism used. So you will get an opportunity to earn NFTs, special NFTs, and get rewards as well as you contribute and validate the data. And so far, this is the NFT that we are working on in the near future.
Very interesting. How is that received by the schools? Maybe we can also go a little bit on the ground. Are they excited that something like this is done? Like, to what extent are they understanding these technologies? If you can maybe share a bit of details.
So of course, there's still a lot of work to do. So that is why when we plan to do the beta launch, we aim to use our learnings and enhance it for other parts of the world. However, the end incentive of using NFT2 is to also create a way for schools to earn money via the platform. So without going into too much details, the school will be given soul-bound NFTs, and then they can use these NFTs to create revenue streams, which once the platform is a bit settled, we will encourage schools to do. So there is definitely a reward for them, an incentive for them also.
Fantastic. And I wanted to quickly understand also in terms of the success you guys had. I mean, I know that the aim is by 2030, but maybe you can give a quick update on how many schools you have connected or where you guys are right now in the roadmap, just to give the audience a full picture to an extent of what has already been achieved or what might be achieved in the future.
So I encourage you to go and check on projectconnect.unicef.org. It's really simple. And what you will see, which is much better than me giving any figures, is a map of the world, and it will be full of green lights and red lights. So these are the countries that Giga has mapped. So Giga has, till date, mapped 2.1 million schools worldwide out of approximately 6 million schools. So the green countries are the ones that are connected, and when you click on each of these green dots, you will get data of the school. Like, this is the school name, this is the speed of the connection, and all the other things. So definitely look into that. And I think one really important thing is that we need to kind of step back and see the impact. To truly understand the impact, we need to understand the future. Everything is digital. So the future economy is digital. So when you change the red dot to a green dot and give internet connectivity to that, a 14-year-old who studies in that school, who once, had a different future, is now opened, the whole world opens up to that person, that child. And for that 14-year-old, her trajectory of life is totally changed, all because of the internet connectivity. So in order to understand that impact, I think we need to look at that.
Amazing. I think it's also nice to see that Because then typically when we talk about blockchain and Web3 in the impact space, a lot of people always think about the donation side of things, right? Like how can we use blockchain to trace that better or like enable easier access? But I think there's a lot more to it at the end of the day, what the technology can do. And we just heard one example in the education space. And I think a lot of projects are working on this as well, of how can we use that from a gamified perspective, or how can we empower individuals, young individuals early on to become part of this digital wave. And there's so much value being unlocked, right? And I think what was the biggest key takeaway from our side as well when we invested in such companies is really the idea of this is closer to your doorstep than you might think, right? This is not the school in Cambodia somewhere who has challenges. This is really also in a lot of developed countries moving forward. So as we only have about 30 seconds left, I wanted to give you the last seconds of the stage of how people can reach you and sort of a last message you want to share with them around impact and Web3.
Thank you. So if you want to check out Giga's work, you can go to giga.global. I highly encourage you to follow us on social media, specifically Twitter. So for the Web3 related content, there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of Twitter spaces we've had also with Ethereum Foundation, with a lot of interesting, which can add value. So go to Patchwork at Patchwork Giga, and also at Giga Global. And you can go on the website and check us out over there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I think there was a exciting topic. I hope you guys can look it up and check it out, what AMNA is doing here with the whole team. So a big round of applause for AMNA and what she's doing in the impact space. And thanks again for having us. Yeah, I'm also here. It's okay.
Thanks, everyone.